Hi, everybody. My name is Katie Schaefer, and I am the Marketing and Recruitment Manager for Into SLU. And I am very excited this morning to present on the Graduate Business STEM programs of our one-year MBA, Applied Financial Economics, and Supply Chain Management. I am joined by Dave Sanders, who will be talking about our one-year MBA program, Sean Zhang, who will be talking about Supply Chain Management, and then I will be touching briefly on Applied Financial Economics. Now, if any point during this presentation, you have any questions, just go ahead and post them in the chat, and we will make sure to answer them at the end of the presentation. And as a reminder, please make sure you are muted during the presentation so we don't hear you while Dave and Sean are talking. So I will go ahead and start with a brief overview about St. Louis University. SLU was founded in 1818. We have campuses in both St. Louis and Madrid, Spain. SLU is a private Catholic Jesuit university. And what that really means for our students, especially our international students, is that we really take a holistic approach to education. SLU believes in educating the entire person, mind, body, and soul. It also means that we have kind of a smaller average class size. We typically have about 28 students to a class, and we have a 9-to-1 student to faculty ratio, which means that our faculty are very available to our students. Right now, we have actually over 12,883 students, and we have over 1,200 international students right now. We just had a very large international enrollment this past year, which is very exciting for us. International students come from about 82 countries right now. St. Louis University is ranked 103 as a national university in the United States, and this is out of over 4,000 universities. We are also ranked 53 as a best valued school. This means you're really going to get the bang for your buck at SLU. We are also ranked 58 as an best undergraduate teaching school. 99% of our faculty hold the highest degree in their field. In terms of community involvement, which is something you can very much expect at St. Louis University, if that's something you'd like to get involved in, we are ranked number 2 most engaged in community service. And we are number 4 out of a top 25 schools for making an impact. Now, St. Louis itself is also the number 2 best city for jobs in the United States. So I'm just going to briefly touch on our School of Business, and Dave and Sean, if you want to chime in at any point. So the Shape It School of Business at St. Louis University is very highly ranked by the U.S. News and World Report. Right now, we have 3 graduate business areas that are ranked in the top 20 nationally. That's international business at number 8, entrepreneurship at number 12, and supply chain management, which we will talk about at number 13. Graduate students are welcome to participate in various service projects in the St. Louis community. I mentioned how big community service is for St. Louis University, and that is very true for our business students as well. Our business school also hosts the Boeing Institute of International Business, which sponsors seminars and conferences. And our business school is AACSB accredited, which is an honor held only by the top 5% of global business schools. Today, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about our one-year MBA, the MS in Applied Financial Economics, and the MS in Supply Chain Management. Note that these are all STEM programs, which means that you will qualify for STEM OPT extension. So instead of the one-year OPT extension that you get after graduation, you will qualify for 3 years. So first, we're going to talk about our one-year MBA program, and I will start off with asking Dave to just give a brief introduction of himself and our program.
Morning, everyone, or probably good evening, depending on where you are in the world. So my name is Dave Sanders. I'm the director of the one-year MBA program. Our one-year MBA program is an accelerated learning program. We don't just take the typical 2-year MBA and cut it in half. We still do our full program. We just do it, well, we do it really quickly. As it shows up here now, we have an 11-month program. Our focus in this program is data analytics focus. We kind of had to pre-select a track just to make sure that we can get all the classes to fit into a 1 year. So the track we've selected is data analytics. And this is something we feel that is really what companies and what employers are looking for. The goal of our program is employment post-graduation. We're not a fellowship program. I don't want to keep you attached to the university for 3 or 4 years doing research. I want you to get a job. So that's kind of what we've done, is we've integrated that data analytics throughout our curriculum, really to enhance your job seeking ability. As pointed out on the slide here, it is a STEM certified program. It is following a cohort format, so you will be with the same students in 90+% of your classes. There might be a little bit of bouncing around with some of the dual degrees, but most of the time you'll be with the same students in all 11 months. I think we can probably go to the next slide here. So this is a really small print on this slide, but this is kind of our program laid out as it is right now. It will be a little bit different next year. Some of the credit hours are changing, but the course load should be approximately the same. Where in the summer, you're going to get a lot of the fundamental concepts of business. So whether you don't have a business education background or it's just been a long time, the summer is meant to kind of get everyone on par for that business education. In the fall and the spring, you're going to apply the tools that you've utilized, you've been learning in the summer. We do have a 9-month internship built into the program. So you would take that internship in both the fall and the spring. We have an immersion trip in the early part of the spring semester. So you have the opportunity to utilize those analytic skills as much as possible. I saw across the chat, is there only one track for the MBA? For the 1-year MBA, yes, that is true. There is just the one track that we have pre-selected. And again, it has to do with scheduling, because if we're going to fit all of our MBA program into 1 year, it has to be pre-planned out ahead of time. The part-time MBA, which is a 2 to 3 or a year longer, potentially, depending on how part-time you make it, it does have multiple tracks that are available. There are some certificate programs that may be potentially possible in the 1-year MBA as well, because we do allow you to take electives if you so desire, in addition to your coursework, which means you could get a certificate. I do have a student right now who is doing a certificate in real estate, in addition to the 1-year MBA, based on the electives that student is taking. I think we can go to the next one. Thank you. So I mentioned this, an immersion trip in early spring, typically in January, between the summer and spring semesters. So before the spring semester really begins, we do a global immersion trip where we will engage in an international brand audit. You'll have some classes both before and after the trip that will kind of prepare you for the immersion experience, and then post-trip for you to present your findings. There is a project that is done on the trip, as well as exposure to local culture. So the picture is actually a pre-COVID picture. This was the year before COVID. They went to Peru. We have done Hong Kong in the past. We've done Peru. This year we're doing Madrid, so Spain. So it does kind of change a little bit. The COVID has changed the nature of this experience, of course, somewhat. So the landscape is a little bit different, and we have to kind of take that into account with location selection on where do we think that we can engage in international travel safely. So this year we're going to do Madrid, so we'll have to hopefully update that picture. And yeah, it's been a great time for the students. That's usually one of their highlights of the trip. Of the program. Can you go to the next slide? So this is really what I think is the crown jewel of our program here, is that we do have a data consulting project built in. So it will give you that opportunity to utilize, all of those skills that you're learning throughout the program in a professional setting. So you would work as a consulting team with your peers. The team sizes could be anywhere from 3 to 6, depending on the needs of the company. And you'll be working as a consultant at that company on site. So for example, this year we have students that are working at Equifax. We have students that are working at Nestle Purina. We have a nonprofit involved as well. Students will go to those locations. I have it set up as primarily that's what they're doing on their Fridays, is they're going to those locations and they're working on site at those locations. So it gives you the opportunity to get real world experience, get 9 months of it, because we start it in September. And that goes all the way through the duration of our program, all the way to graduation. So it gives that opportunity to really go out there and utilize those skills, build real world experience, build something that's going to help enhance your resume. And again, just really allow you to put what you're learning on, theory into practice. That's something, again, that I really want to focus on is I want to get you jobs. I just don't want to teach you background theory. So we want to get you practicing and learning by doing as quickly as possible. Okay, next slide.
I think that's it
that
for the one-year MBA. I will ask, because I know people want to know, for the data consulting project, is this a paid experience?
So it does vary from year to year. If in years where we have it contractually set up with the companies, for some pay, it is primarily scholarship-based pay, which means that it will go towards tuition first. Now, if tuition is paid off, then it does become cash in hand. And then someone in the chat said, is the GRE or GMAT required? We are currently not requiring it as part of the application process, but sometimes it is recommended for students as part of the scholarship process. So it's not required in terms of program admission, but sometimes we do suggest that students do it. Especially if they're kind of on borderline for different scholarships, we might make that suggestion.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dave, for talking about our one-year MBA program. I know you have to go, so if anyone has any last questions about the one-year MBA program, please post them in the chat right now while we still have Dave with us.
It is STEM designated. So it will qualify for the OPT. Right now, the current tuition cost, this is not counting any scholarships or any of the contracted amount from the data consulting project, is $55,000. What does the interview? I'll get to that one in just a second. But we do scholarship out. We do have merit scholarships that are awarded at the time of admission. So those are awarded right away, and those scholarships can range anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. There's also additional donor scholarships they're competitive scholarships that you apply for, and the donors will award those scholarships, and those can range anywhere from typically an additional $3,000 to $5,000. Although I've seen some awards of $10,000, and we usually have 1 or 2 of those every semester. There was a question, let's see, the interview. Yes, we do require an admission interview. The admission interview is usually either with me or with a member of my team. And it's really just to kind of, it's a short interview. It's between 20 and 30 minutes. Just to kind of get to know you, to answer any questions that we may have about your admission packet. And to, again, kind of just measure, capability for the program. It is a short program. It is 1 year, which means it's going to be a very, very intense program. And we want to make sure that everyone is going to fit into that properly. So there is that interview for that purpose. Work experience is not required, but it does enhance your application considerably. So, I mean, we do have some students who are straight out of their undergraduate. This year, I mean, I can think of at least 3 or 4 that are just straight out of undergraduate. So they have 0 work experience. But then I also have people in the program right now who have between 9 and 15 years work experience. Not this cohort, but the prior cohort, I had a guy with 22 years of work experience. So it does enhance your application, but it is not required. 3-year degrees we do require a 4-year degree for admission. If there is any difference on that, it would actually be waived above my head. It would come from the admissions committee on that, but we do require a 4-year degree. I do know that because they said the 3-year accelerated degree from India, we have seen that be accepted before, but I can't officially say yes, that is fine because it is that 4-year degree, and that would be an exemption. Can I explain the whole application process for getting the I-20? I cannot actually.
I'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say that doesn't come from my office at all. So yeah, Katie, I think that's going to be you. I-20 turnaround time. So Katie, I'll leave that to you, although I will say it was slower this year for sure. But I think that's just kind of a COVID backlash still a little bit, that we're not seeing a lot of employment around the world as much. Is that it in there? Did I get them all?
I think you did. Thank you, Dave.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out to our graduate admissions team, and they can answer those or forward those to me, and I can assist.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dave. I know the 1-year MBA is a very exciting program, and our students are very interested in it. And I've been asked a lot about this program. So
great.
You guys are doing great things.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay. Have a great day.
You too. Bye. Okay, so now I'm going to move into applied financial economics. Briefly, our program director for applied financial economics was not able to be on the call this morning, but it is a very popular degree for us, so I wanted to make sure we talked about it. So the MS in Applied Financial Economics really is a one-of-a-kind program. It's qualitatively based graduate program in financial economics that focuses on analysis and forecasting of financial variables. These could include interest rates, stock returns, and their effects on the financial market. Students then are very attractive to employers because these employers are looking for candidates with training in practical empirical economic analysis in areas such as portfolio management, risk analysis, forecasting, investment performance, and measurement. So studying financial markets and economic systems are really inroads to virtually any career path. So if you get a graduate degree in applied financial economics, there's going to be a lot of doors that are open to you because the program provides an in-depth expertise in both economics and finance, which are already very highly sought after programs after graduation. This program also will allow you to develop a strong ethical, technical, and professional skills that are really highly sought by employers. And again, just like the 1-year MBA, this is a STEM program. So you'll have those 3 years of OPT time after graduation. You can here see the curriculum in applied financial economics. You'll notice that this looks a little bit different, the layout from the 1-year MBA. And that's because SLU offers a pathway in applied financial economics, where that is not the case for the 1-year MBA program. So if you look on the left, you will see the courses in the pathway, whether you're taking a 1-semester pathway or a 2-semester pathway. On the right, you will see the roadmap for applied financial economics that is on SLU's website. You'll see that it says year 1. Well, year 1 is it. This program is only a 30 credit program. So if you want to, you can graduate in 1 year. So students in the program are going to take courses like finance theory and application, fixed income securities and markets, equity securities and markets. They take a capstone over the summer, also applied optimization methods for financial economics. So a lot of really great finance and economic courses there. So we talked a little bit about the curriculum and what employers are looking for, but really, why financial economics? Well, that's kind of because of the job market demand is very high. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics specifically noted that the brightest prospects right now for jobs are those with graduate degrees who have skills in qualitative analysis and the ability to apply qualitative analysis to economic modeling and forecasting. So that is what the Applied Financial Economics program will teach you. It also teaches students a set of kind of diverse skills. While you're learning analytical skills, you're also learning how to apply these skills. And SLU graduates are really going to be qualified for a range of analysis-related jobs. So high interest among employers to hire individuals who have training from areas such as portfolio management, risk analysis, forecasting, investment, performance measurement. And as we mentioned, these are all things that students learn in the Applied Financial Economics program. There's also high job growth in this market. Employment of business and financial operations occupations is projected to grow 7% from 2018 to 2028. So this decade that we're in, jobs are only going to grow in this field. So what are students' opportunities after graduation? So students who graduate with the MS-AFE degree will be qualified for a range of analysis-related jobs. Here's just some kind of sample job titles for graduates. Research, analysis, policy analysis, data analysis, staff economist, strategy analysis, business economist, securities analysis, market forecaster, and more. As you can see, a lot of analyst jobs. And over on the right here, you can kind of see the median pay for a couple jobs. So we're looking at around 76 to 88,000 for some of the jobs in this field. Here we kind of talk about faculty research in the AFE program. So research is very big at St. Louis University. SLU is a premier research university. Students and faculty really work side by side to tackle research and tough questions and find solutions that impact communities in St. Louis and globally. Faculty are they often involve students in their research. So faculty research interests for faculty in AFE program include things like mutual funds, investments, pension plans, securities regulation, data and database property, and much more. So another question is, why SLU? Why SLU to get your MS in Applied Financial Economics? Well, as I mentioned, the U.S. News and World Report ranks the Chaffetz School of Business a top institute for graduate study. We have programs such as accounting, entrepreneurship, international business, supply chain, but we're really the region's only institute with the distinction of being a top graduate study institute. Oh, and down here, this is our program chair, Hae Long. He was not able to make it today. So just kind of what he says about the program is that St. Louis is a great city for our MS and Applied Financial Economic graduates, as financial services are a major industry in St. Louis. Our former students have had internships with the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank, Wells Fargo Advisors, Centene Corporation, Edward Jones Investments, and more. So really great job placement for students coming out of this degree program. So that is all we kind of have for financial economics. If there's students on the call that have more specific questions about this program, I will put my email in the chat and you can send me an email and I can put you in touch with the program chair. And we can get your questions answered because I don't want to give you wrong information about this specific program. So I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat right now. And then we can move on to Sean, who's going to talk about supply chain management.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Okay, hello everyone. So this is Sean. So right now I'm the interim director of the MS program of the supply chain management. I'll be talking about our program for the following 10 minutes. So if you have any question, feel free to stop me by typing your question in the chat box so I can answer your question while I'm presenting our program. Okay. So next slide, please. Thank you. So first of all, our supply chain program is a STEM major, is a STEM certified program. So we convert this program into a STEM certified program in 2020. And after that, we have a huge growth. So within this program, so we have a really rigid or like quantitative curriculum. So you'll be learning how to make operations management decisions. So for all aspects within the supply chain management region. And I remember Dave was mentioning this data analytics track, right? So right now the supply chain program is really focusing on this data analytics tracks also. And most of those courses, so within business school related to data analytics actually are taught by our professors within this operations and IT management department. So actually we're offering those courses. And next slide, please. In this supply chain master program, so we have a 30 credit design. So it means that there are 10 required courses. So among those 10 required courses, so 6 courses are more operations management oriented. So you learn supply chain management concepts, supply chain management models in those 6 OPM or operations management courses. So we also have another 4 ITM courses. Those are IT management courses, you learn actual analytics or business technology management. So currently we have a relatively rigid design. There's no elective courses. So we only have these 10 required courses. However, we already modify our program, which will be launched in spring next year. So there will be 3 new courses introduced. So 2 are more on the analytics side, and 1 is more on the business technology management side, which is about ERP. So in the future, if you join the SLU in the spring or in the coming fall, so you'll have some flexibility. You can take some elective courses depending on whether you want to focus on business technology management or you want to focus on data analytics, okay? And most of our students, they graduate in 1.5 years. If you check the roadmap on the right, so most of our students, they graduate in 1.5 years. So we also offer courses in the summer. It is definitely possible to spread some of those courses in the summer. So I know that some students, they're taking 2 courses in the summer to graduate a little bit faster. And however, we have some students, like maybe 5% of the students, they graduate within the year. So they take 2 classes in the summer and 4 classes in the fall and 4 classes in the spring. So they can graduate in a year. And like another small portion of our students, they graduate actually in 2 years. And those are our roadmaps. You can actually find out those roadmap information on our website. And we also have students from the Year program. So Year program students, they need some training, so in English. So their roadmap will be a little bit different. So they need to take like English classes in the first 2 semesters, and then switch to like a regular track and join our like regular students. So any questions? Okay. So why supply chain management? So supply chain management is pretty important right now. I think you heard about the concept of reshoring and nearshoring. I think the US is trying to bring back the supply chain either to US or to nearby city, like a nearby country like Mexico or Canada. So the supply chain related jobs actually is growing in the recent years. Also, the salary is decent. And we have a highly ranked supply chain master program, so number 16 by US News, and the average salary. So this is old data. I believe this number is not correct. It's lower than the current number. The current number should be at least 80K above. And in terms of placement, so in this year, we have some decent placement, especially for our international student. I think most of you, so you're international students, so I'm listing some of the placement data here. So in May, we have 8 international students graduating, and 5 of them, they secure a job or internship within US. So for example, we have like an Indian lady who went to Ernst Young in Chicago as a supply chain analyst. And also, we recently have a student from Latin America, so who just joined a med lab in St. Louis area as an operations analyst. Okay. We have a question here. Entry requirement for. Give me one moment to check the chat box. So the entry requirement is all depending on your package, right? So we need to know your past degree, your transcript, so your work experience. So depending on how strong the application pool, so we'll decide so to whom we are giving the offer, so to whom we are giving out the scholarships. So right now the GRE and GMAT, they're not required, but still recommended for scholarship application. And yes, right now there's no like a specifically required GRE score. So any other questions? So what do you mean by 12 plus 3 students accepted? So Denmark, can you explain that a bit? Oh, let me answer the next question about the scholarships, okay? So in terms of scholarships, I believe the tuition for the whole program is 42K. So we can at most give 12K, so scholarship depending on your background. So let me confirm with our website. Yes, so we can give scholarships in 3 tiers. The first tier, the highest tier is 12K. The second tier is 8K, and the last tier is 4K. And on top of that, so I have some exciting news to share with you. So we are launching a new course, and this new course is called a project-based course. So it's led by an industry manager, so within St. Louis area. So within that course, so you'll get a chance to work with local companies for concrete industry-oriented project. And there will be 3 credits corresponding to that course. And once you register for that course, either in your 2nd or your 3rd semester here, so actually you'll be paid. You'll be paid another $1,000. So by taking this kind of project-based course. So you can consider that as a mild version of internship, because internship, not every student can find internship. That's why we're providing this kind of industry like experience, so through a course to our students. And this course will be launched in spring next year. So in terms of a 3-year undergraduate degree, so I indeed saw 1 or 2 students with like a 3-year degree. But on top of that, they also have some other like certificates from some other universities. But I would say that most of our students, they have a 4-year degree. So you see in this slide, I'm listing some of our recent placement. So the job title will be related to supply chain analyst, sourcing analyst, logistic analyst, or production or project manager. So I can give you some of the top like students graduating from us from the past 3 years. So I would say the #1 student who graduated was like 2 years ago. I think right now he's, let me confirm. So she's a program manager too. So in terms of network planning at Amazon in Seattle. So this year we have a really decent placement, like supply chain analyst in Ernst Young in Chicago. And I think all our domestic students, they found jobs, so they upgrade their career. And for international students, so in the May this year, so 5 out of 8 graduated, so found job in US. Yes, any other questions? So there will be some like a university on-campus job. So you can work in the library, you can work in the possibly HR department for some administrative jobs. And after your first semester, so there is also a chance to be hired as a graduate assistant. So some students, maybe 5 to 10 students, will be working for the professors as teaching assistant. So some students, maybe 1 or 2 to 3. So if you're interested in applying for future PhD programs in supply chain management, so you might be working with professors as a research assistant. So those will be paid jobs. And you'll be allowed to work 20 hours maximum, so per week. So if you work on campus. However, if after you take 2 full semester courses, so you'll be qualified for CPT, you can actually apply for internships, so locally. So this semester, some students are taking my classes, actually they're working full-time, 40 hours outside campus in a company, while they're taking classes at night at the university. Okay. No, this scholarship is kind of like a per program scholarship. So you don't need to apply for both years. It's given to you after you're approved for the scholarship. So I think more information, I recommend you contacting our graduate office. So either Caitlin or Tiffany. So they will be able to help you about this scholarship application process. Thank you. Campaign study like students done measurement. Yeah, sure. So we have students like who got degree and then have a gap year. So even without working experience, and was eventually accepted into our program. And yeah, we have some experience. We have some examples. Okay. I think then let me continue and finish my presentation, and then you can ask more questions. Thank you. And so why supply chain management? I think the income potential, high income potential, it is indeed here. And so here we're listing some of the like medium salary. This is from 3 years ago before COVID. I think all of you guys, you know that in US, so after COVID, there is kind of like a huge salary raise. So right now, just added another 10% on top of this medium salary. So you have an idea of what the salary will be, after graduating from SLU and after working for 2 to 3 years in the related industry. So next slide, please. Okay, so SLU supply chain program is offered by the Department of Operations and IT Management. So this department is highly research oriented. So the professors are doing all kinds of research related to operations management and IT management. So I'll give you some examples for the research interest area by the faculty members here. So for example, so we're doing research in revenue management, logistics, and dynamic pricing, so customer behavior analysis. So we also have some students here, so once every year possibly, so who decided to go to a PhD program. So in the past 3 years, we had 2 students so who went to another PhD program after graduating from a supply chain master program. So this year we have a student who just went to University of Cincinnati, which is a top supply chain management PhD program. Yeah, that is the student research. And next slide, please. Okay, so this is also important. So we also have a center. This center is Center for Supply Chain Excellence. So this center works closely with the Department of Operations and IT Management. So we plan to offer a industry seminar series. So in fall 2023, it means that we'll bring in industry speakers every month to campus to meet our supply chain management students so that you can have more local connection with industry people. Okay, so you'll be working, and some of the students actually will be working in the supply chain center, so as an on-campus job for some administrative jobs. So shall we move to the next slide? Okay, so I think I'll leave this to Katie. Yes, thank you, Katie.
Thank you so much, Sean. Here you'll just see kind of some testimonials and experience from past students who graduated from our business programs. At the top, you'll see a student who was in our graduate pathway in applied financial economics that really found Into SLU beneficial because it helped him build a strong foundation for his program. So we'll talk more about Into SLU and what our pathway is. And you'll also see a student from Pakistan who was in the graduate pathway in supply chain management and said SLU really prepared him for his CPT experience. And we have a student who was in the graduate pathway for business administration. So he got his MBA. This is actually the professional MBA program that this particular student was in, not the one-year MBA program, because the one-year MBA program does not have a graduate pathway available, but the professional MBA program does. So we'll move on from these testimonials and talk more about our pathway program. So Into SLU offers many pathway programs that really help support students who need a little bit of extra support in English. Students in the pathway programs are assured admission to their graduate programs upon successful completion of the progression requirements. So there are some requirements. You'll have to get a certain GPA and just make sure you're fully prepared to matriculate into your program. But our pathway benefits help students gain language, research, writing, and presentation skills. You'll have an academic advisor specific to your pathway throughout the pathway program. You'll be able to earn credits towards your degree before you fully enter, like, for example, a supply chain program. You'll be getting credits towards that degree before you're fully matriculated into the degree program. Students that are in a pathway have courses with both international and American students because they're taking those English courses in our building with other international students. And then they're also taking courses that are credits to their degree program with American students. So students that are in our pathway have fully capabilities. They are full-on SLU students. You have access to anything SLU offers. You're not kind of limited to Intu's resources. You have access to all of SLU's activities, experienced university instructors such as Sean and Dave. And then, of course, there is tons of student support. We have an international student orientation. We just had 2 orientation sessions, actually. One was just this past Monday for students who came after classes started, and one was back in August where we saw our largest entrance of international students to St. Louis University. So that was very, very exciting. Students also have access to the English Language Center, Career Services, which SLU as a university has a Career Services Center, but business students have their own Career Services Center in the School of Business. So that is really beneficial to business students. There's also an international center. SLU has tons of activities and events. There's always something going on around campus. And we have tons of clubs and organizations. There are clubs that are kind of geared towards the region you come from. There's an Indian Student Association club. There's also clubs that are more specific to like the programs you're in. I'm not super familiar with like clubs that are associated kind of with the business school, but I know there's anything you could possibly want to get involved with, SLU has. And I know I mentioned that students kind of have to complete progression requirements in order to enter their degree program fully, but just know that actually on the right here, this is an old statistic, 100% of pathway students were eligible to progress in both the 2019-2020 years and 2020-2021. So don't be scared about not being able to progress into your degree program. I see some questions, but I will go ahead and answer those in just a few moments. I have a few more slides to get to, and then I will look at the questions. So St. Louis is really a great mecca for careers in business. So many major companies are located in St. Louis. We have Energizer, Pfizer, Bayer, Purina, Boeing, Anheuser-Busch, Emerson, DuPont. And St. Louis, I'll also mention, is the #2 rising city for startups, the #2 best city for jobs. And we also have Fortune 500 and 1,000 companies located in our city. So St. Louis it may not be Los Angeles or New York, which I know are places that a lot of international students think of when they think of the United States, but we are truly a wonderful city. And also I will mention that St. Louis is home to one of the largest inland ports in the United States. We're located, very strategically located in the middle of the United States. We're located right on the Mississippi River. So really well positioned for access to other places in the United States. We can talk a little bit more about experience and outcomes. St. Louis's top industries include technology, biotechnology, banking and finance, healthcare, logistics. And St. Louis isn't just centrally located in the United States. SLU is centrally located within St. Louis. SLU's campus is just minutes from the region's 2 central business districts. SLU is right between downtown St. Louis, which is where that big arch that I know you've all seen is located, and the Central West End. The Central West End is kind of an area where a lot of our hospitals are located. There's a lot of businesses over there as well. So that is also very close to St. Louis University. St. Louis is also a very affordable city. It was voted the #2 most affordable city for millennials and is a top 10 best city for new college graduates. Actually, I'm pretty sure we are #1 there. They just re-ranked that and we are very, very high on that list. In 2020, St. Louis was also voted as the #1 best city to launch a career. And again, we talked about all of those top industries. So just know that there are tons of CPT and OPT opportunities available to our students. And also that is where the career centers come in handy. They can really help you find great internships, great placement after graduation as well. So here's just kind of a little company map of St. Louis right here where my mouse is. This is where SLU is located. This is kind of where downtown is located. We're very close to Wells Fargo. You can see it from campus. Purina, Anheuser-Busch, AT&T, these companies are located closer to downtown. Right next to SLU, you'll also notice we have the Cortex district. I mentioned that St. Louis is the #2 city for startups. So this is where a lot of companies start up. The Cortex district, there are tons of startups down there. This is also where you'll find Microsoft, Square, DuPont. We also have Boeing close by, MasterCard, Pfizer. So I know there was a lot of questions about scholarships, admissions, things like that. So I will go ahead and talk about that. So on the left, you'll see kind of the application process for our business programs. You can apply online. There is no application fee to do so. So if you're on the fence, apply. You'll want to submit your current resume, a professional goal statement, 2 professional references, and your unofficial transcripts, which once you arrive at SLU, you will have to bring those official transcripts sealed with you. But at the time of application, you can just submit your unofficial transcripts. GMAT and GRE are optional, but as Dave mentioned when he talked about the one-year MBA program, some programs, they're kind of preferred to submit those scores, but they're optional. Students do not have to submit GMAT and GRE scores if they do not want to. So in terms of language and GPA requirements, if you're applying as a direct entry student, you're going to need to have an over 3.0 GPA. Your language scores, you're going to want over a 110 Duolingo, over 80 TOEFL, 6.5 IELTS, with at least a 6.0 in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So our accelerated graduate pathway program, which means that you're going to be in a pathway for 1 semester, you are going to look at a little bit of a lower TOEFL score, a 6.0 IELTS with a 6.0 in reading and writing, and a 105 Duolingo. For a standard graduate pathway, that is a 2-semester pathway program. Again, GPA is going to want to be a 2.5 plus. Your TOEFL score is going to be even lower. Your IELTS is still 6.0, same as the accelerated graduate pathway, but your reading and writing scores can be a little bit lower. They can be a 5.5. Your Duolingo score just has to be a 95. Anything under those scores, don't think that you can't come to St. Louis University if you don't have those kind of English language scores. We do offer academic English as well as a part of Intu's programs. So you can come in and take a semester between 1 and 3 semesters of academic English, and then enter a pathway program, and then matriculate into your program of choice. Of course, that's going to take you a little bit longer, but it's still an option. So just as a reminder, we offer the graduate pathways in applied financial economics and supply chain management. We do not have a graduate pathway for the 1-year MBA program, but we do offer a graduate pathway for a professional MBA program. So that program, I will mention, is not STEM qualified at this time. We are hoping to get that program STEM qualified, but right now it is not. So if you want to enter a STEM MBA program, the 1-year MBA program is your option. And on these next 2 slides, John, feel free to chime in. So this is just kind of a breakdown, because students that are kind of entering business programs tend to ask, do I need to have a business undergraduate degree? And the answer is no, you don't need to, because students are broken into about like 50-50, whether they have a business degree or not, an undergraduate. So don't let that be a hindrance if you are interested in studying supply chain. When you're MBA, applied financial economics, you do not have to have an undergraduate business degree. So another question, which I know Dave and Sean both talked about, do I need to have work experience? Again, the answer is no. And you can see kind of the percentage breakdown from our Shafit's graduate programs profile that came out in this year. Kind of see where the breakdown lays. A lot of students, as you can see, 34% do not have work experience prior to entering graduate school. But then I've also been asked, what if I have too much work experience? Well, again, that is also okay. It's kind of interesting that the highest percentages are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Okay, so how to apply to these programs? Well, all 3 of these programs, you can apply through the, your agent can help you apply through that partner portal at intoglobal.com. You can apply for the pathway programs or direct entry on both the partner portal. Talking a little more about scholarships and tuition. So we do package the entire study plan up front. So you're going to know what your tuition cost is. You're going to know what kind of scholarships you're getting. And scholarships are available in all 3 of these programs. An interview might be required to receive a scholarship, but just so you know, you are eligible for scholarships whether you're entering as a direct entry student, or if you're entering in a graduate pathway and then matriculating into your program. If you're entering that way, you'll kind of receive a scholarship for during your graduate pathway. And then we'll also tell you what St. Louis University is going to give you after you leave that graduate pathway and are just in your degree program. So that is all I have for this presentation. I will go ahead and check the chat and see. I saw a bunch more questions pop up. So let's see here. Oh, I see Sean's been responding to something.
Yeah, Katie, the last question, actually, I don't have the information. So about the application deadline, do you have this information?
Are we talking about spring?
I think both spring and also fall admission.
I don't have the application deadlines in front of me. Okay, for both spring and fall. I put my email in the chat. You can send me an email if that would be okay, and I can get you that information. But I will say, if you know you want to apply for supply chain, do it as soon as possible. We have tons of applications coming in, and our team is processing them as quickly as they can, but it is taking a little bit longer time than what we're used to. Okay,
So sorry, Vishka, we couldn't find the information for you right now. And if you want, you can leave a like an email